The walls around us, why some people are so hard to reach. Every difficult person you've ever dealt with, the angry customer, the shutting down spouse, the defensive coworker, they weren't trying to be difficult. They were protected. There's a wall around them, and until you understand what that wall is made of and how to work with it instead of against it, every conversation you have with them is going to feel like you're hitting a brick wall, because you are. I'm Jason Warbeck. I've spent over 2 decades in some of the highest stakes conversations imaginable, and one of the most important things I learned is this: the wall isn't the problem. How you respond to it is. Here's something I want you to picture. Imagine that every single person you interact with is surrounded by a wall. Not a visible one, but it's there. For most people, that wall is pretty thin. They're generally open, they communicate well, they can hear you, receive feedback, have a disagreement, and move through it. Life hasn't hardened them to the point where getting through to them is a project. But for a lot of people, that wall is thick, really thick, and it didn't get that way overnight. Those walls are built over time, layer by layer. They're made up of things like trauma, chronic stress, unresolved anger, deep frustration, shame and embarrassment, fear, past experiences where being open got them hurt. Every one of those things adds another layer to that wall. And here's the thing: the person inside that wall often doesn't even know how thick it's gotten. They're not being difficult on purpose, they're being protected. There's a difference. And the moment you understand that difference, everything changes. So how do you know when you're dealing with a thick wall? You can see it, you can hear it, it shows up in their words: sarcasm, dismissiveness, hostility, deflection, shutdown, insults, swearing. It shows up in the volume. Someone who is yelling at you isn't just being loud, they're telling you something about the pressure that's built up inside that wall. It shows up in their behavior: crossed arms, avoiding eye contact, explosive reactions to small things, refusal to engage. And sometimes it's all of it at once: the yelling, the swearing, the insults, the shutdown, layered on top of each other. It can feel like a full assault. And in that moment, every instinct you have tells you to defend yourself. Most people, when they encounter this, react to it. Someone fires a sharp word at you, and your instinct is to fire one back. Someone yells, and you raise your voice to match. Someone throws an insult, and you feel the heat rise in your chest. Someone shuts down, and you push harder. Think of those words and behaviors as arrows. They're being shot at you, and they sting. The yelling is an arrow. The swearing is an arrow. The insult is an arrow. The cold silence is an arrow. And the natural human response is to focus on the arrow, to react to it, defend against it, or fire one back. But here's the problem: when you focus on the arrow, you stay in the conflict. You're now in a battle, and nobody wins a battle with someone whose wall is that thick. You'll exhaust yourself, and nothing will change. In fact, it usually gets worse. What I want you to do instead is shift your focus entirely. Stop looking at the arrow, start looking at the bow. The bow is what's driving the arrow. It's the source. It's the why behind the what. That yelling, it might be driven by someone who has never felt heard in their entire life. Those insults, it might be someone who only knows how to fight because that's all they were ever shown. The swearing, it might be the only language someone has to express how overwhelmed they are right now. That explosive reaction, it might be exhaustion, grief, or fear that has absolutely nothing to do with you. That sarcasm, it might be the only way they know how to protect themselves in a conversation that feels threatening. When you focus on the bow, on what's actually driving the behavior, something shifts. You stop taking it personally. You get curious instead of defensive, and you start responding to the real thing instead of the surface thing. And here's what happens when you do that: the arrows become less effective. Not because the person stopped firing them, but because you stopped being a target. You stepped to the side, and now you're standing next to them trying to understand the bow together. That's where real communication begins. So how do you actually do this in the moment? First, don't react to the arrow. Take a breath. Remind yourself that the behavior you're seeing is information, not an attack, even if it feels like one, even if it looks and sounds like one. Second, ask yourself, what might be driving this? What's the bow? What is this person carrying right now that I might not be able to see? Third, acknowledge before you answer. You don't have to agree with how someone is communicating to validate that they're struggling. Something as simple as "it sounds like you're really frustrated right now" can lower a wall faster than any argument ever will. The goal isn't to tear the wall down, that's their work to do. Your goal is just to find a way through it, and that starts by understanding what it's made of. If you want the full framework, my book, The Daily Negotiator, takes everything I've learned over 25 years of high-stakes communication and translates it for real life. The link is in the description. Drop a comment below. Think about someone in your life with a thick wall. What do you think it's made of? I read every comment, and I'll see you in the next video.